Hello and welcome everyone. I am Dr. Hailey Nelson. So excited you could join me today for Safe Kids Central California, our Lunch and Learn series. For those of you who haven't met me yet, I am a pediatrician and I also happen to be Dr. California America. My platform is Stay Safe and Be Well, and what a better way to get safety messages out than to partner with Safe Kids Central California to really be able to use that voice and help with all of the messaging. Today we're talking about sleep, which is something that I love, that I don't get enough of, and certainly as a new mom, I was not getting sleep. So we really want to talk about sleep for babies, and that's what we're here to do today. And I've brought two friends along to help us give a little more information about it. So I've got Kristina and Eilene. Kristina, why don't you introduce yourself and what you do for Safe Kids and why you wanted to talk about sleep today?
Sure, everyone. My name is Kristina Pasma. I'm a registered nurse at Valley Children's Hospital. I'm also the coordinator of Safe Kids Central California. And I'm a mom of 3 kids. So I'm excited to talk about sleep because I think once you have that baby, you don't get a whole lot of it. So we're going to talk to you today about some things you can do to keep your little ones safe when sleeping.
Awesome. And Eilene, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm also a registered nurse and a public health nurse, and I work for Fresno County as their SIDS femur coordinator. So I help moms who've actually had a baby die in their sleep and help also educate the community how to keep your baby safe during sleep.
Yeah, and so the unfortunate situation when babies do pass away, and you were actually sharing that statistic before we went live of how big of an issue this is in the state of California. So can you tell everyone like what that number is and what it means for us in our area?
Well, I don't have the exact number. I just know it's the leading cause of accidental death for infants. So infants are from birth to 1 year old are all classified as an infant. And during that time, babies who die in their sleep, that's the #1 cause of death.
Okay. So #1 cause of death for babies. This is why we want to talk about it. And babies, newborns sleep a lot. They don't sleep for a very long time, which is why parents get exhausted. But they spend a lot of their day sleeping, just in small little spurts. And so we really need to address how we do that safely for them so that you don't have to meet Eilene in that capacity. And we're really trying to prevent further tragedies by talking about that sleep environment. So Kristina, I know in medicine, we love to have acronyms for everything. And for sleep, it's really the ABCs. So do you want to tell us what the A stands for?
Sure. The A stands for alone. So meaning that the sleep environment that you place the baby in, the baby should be sleeping by themselves, not with someone.
Right. So that having them in their own sleep space, they can be by you. So you can room share, but not bed share. So having your baby have their own spot so that they're alone. So that's our A. What about Eilene? Can you tell us about our B?
Well, for B, babies need always to be placed to sleep on their back. Back is the safest place. They get the best oxygen that way. They can breathe really nice and freely, and they're not going to suffocate accidentally as if they were on their tummy. Mm-hmm. So they also don't choke in their sleep if they're on their back by the way their anatomy is created.
Right. So we want to have them on their back when they're sleeping. And then during the day, when your baby's awake, that's when you can have playtime. So when your baby's awake and interactive, putting them on their tummy, doing some tummy time, and that they get that exercise in and they work on lifting up that head, building those head and neck muscles. But when it comes to sleep, on their back every single time.
Yes.
And then for our C, Kristina, do you want to take that one?
So C stands for cribs, and cribs can stand for a traditional crib. It can stand for a bassinet or even a play yard. But things that are not cribs would be things like on the couch, in bed with you, even on someone's chest, like in a recliner.
Okay, so having your baby in a crib or again, a designated sleep spot that is not somewhere that is soft. Okay, so that's why couches and things can be so dangerous. Eilene, do you want to tell us a little bit more about some situations to avoid there?
We don't want to have anything in the crib with the baby. So blankets, no sheets, no toys, no other little kids. So you can't even sleep two twins together. You know, they have to be all by themselves in that crib. And just look like
Yeah, so that's it, right? Like we really, it's the crib is supposed to be boring. It needs to just have that fitted sheet, nothing else in there. You know, that you don't want your baby at an incline. So that's another thing that sometimes parents feel like, oh, my baby spits up, so they want them in a bouncer, or they'll want to like prop the mattress up. And that really, when it comes to your baby sleeping, having them flat on their back is the best place. So anything else that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that families know when we're talking about the basics of our ABCs of safe sleep?
The one thing I would mention is whatever the crib or the play yard, you really want to make sure that it's certified by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. So there's a lot of things that are marketed as sleep environments. So when Dr. Nelson mentioned about the incline, there have been products that children were placed in unintentionally. Families thought that they were being safe with them, that have since been taken off of the market because we know, in fact, that they were not safe sleep environments for them.
Yeah, and it's hard when it comes to those products. When you are the tired parent and your baby is not sleeping well, you can see where you're just like, please, I want to get some rest. Like, and if there's something that's marketed to making your baby sleep better, that it would be appealing. But the answer is that those products are not safe. They haven't been tested, and that some of them have actually been shown to be harmful. So really checking the websites to see, is this a product that got recalled? A lot of even just baby devices in general, like the bouncers and the different things, your swing, that those are for a wake time only, and that the packaging actually says that. So those are not positions that your baby should be taking a nap in. And a lot of that has to go back to kind of the head and neck. So babies don't have that muscle strength, and they kind of just, they slouch down, and so that the baby can get their kind of chin tucked to their chest and not wake up, lift that head, and be able to breathe. And so babies, you know, unfortunately get into trouble. And Eilene, I know that you hear from families, you know, that this has happened to. Do you have any other messages that you want to make sure that we share?
You're right about the sleep positioners. Those are not safe. And also sometimes you get, you know, tempted to bring the baby in from the car in the car seat, and they're so good. And so you just leave them in that car seat, but that also is an unsafe place to leave your baby. So like you said, Chris, take them out of the car seat and place them on their back in their own crib. And that has to be for every sleep time. Babies are dying during the day. It's not just night. So make sure you follow ABCs every sleep time.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to follow those ABCs every time, because you heard it here that dying in their sleep, that something happens with babies, and that is the #1 killer of infants. And we really, you know, this can be preventable, and that it's why we're here talking about it, because it's so important. And all of us are, you know, moms. Eileen's even a grandma, so we have been there and done those tired days and understand the exhaustion that happens, and yet need to stress the importance of being able to put your baby down. And if you are too tired, then getting help, or even being able to put your baby down when they're fussy. It's okay to lay your baby down even if they're awake in their crib, if you need a safe place to put them, so that you can just take a deep breath and kind of pull yourself back together.
One thing we found is that pacifier use actually decreases SIDS. So you can go ahead and give that baby a pacifier in the crib, but just don't attach it to anything. Don't attach it to a sleep toy. Don't attach it to a ribbon or anything. It's just a pacifier all by itself, and that will help your baby fall asleep. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully, right? So babies enjoy sucking on something that's part of their pleasure, is having food. Babies, you know, they eat, they pee and they poop, and they sleep. It's pretty basic early on. And so that's something that is soothing to them and kind of helps stimulate them so they don't get as into as deep of a sleep. So we're going to be having another sleep episode where we're going to be talking more about ways to soothe your baby and also kind of going into some more of these logistics, really driving home the point today about our ABCs. So you heard it here, and I'm going to repeat it again. Alone, on your back, and in your crib is where we want your baby to sleep for every single sleep. Thank you so much for joining us today for Safe Kids Central California, our Lunch and Learn series. We look forward to seeing you next time. Stay safe and be well.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.